Ooh, welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now David McMahon, and he played Dr. Sykes in Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film. Hey, David, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. This is the second time doing that intro. I forgot to hook up my camera, and which also has my microphone, and it would sound so horrible and look so bad if I didn't catch that on time.
No, because I don't look quite bad enough with the. Yeah, sorry, folks. This is just a Florida person day. So.
Absolutely. I did an interview last week, and my camera was going in and out, so I needed a new camera, and that's where I got this one. And yeah, so it's pretty much the same thing. It just looks a little different, but it looks better to me than the other one. So
yeah,
I'm happy with it.
Good.
Absolutely. So first question I have for you, how'd you get your start into acting?
It's funny. My mom she told me, like, I don't remember this, but she told me when I was in nursery school that I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I said, a soap opera actor. So
Nice.
Although I don't recall it, I'm sure it's true because I would still love to be a soap opera actor.
Yeah.
But no, I did a lot of theater. That was my background. So high school, college, did the dramas, the comedies, the musicals. And then, after college, I kind of just stopped because I felt like I had a degree now.
Yeah.
So it was time to focus on the career. So I threw myself into that. Yeah. But probably maybe, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I kind of got the itch and I started doing theater again, like community level theater. Yeah. And I loved that. And then all of a sudden I ended up doing like a little bit part in a movie that was filming locally. I was living in Albany at the time. And I was like, ooh, film is fun. Film lets you redo things if you mess up,
Yeah. Yep. I was having that conversation earlier at work.
Exactly. And around that time, we were moving to Florida for my regular job. And once I got down here, I just kind of like ingratiated myself to all that. There's a lot of film schools down here. So I just started doing a bunch of student films just to get experience. Started taking some classes, doing some training. And yeah, I know I'm never going to be famous for this, but it's a hell of a fun thing to do. And, I like to give it my all. So that's,
yep.
It keeps me from killing people.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure you told me this. You're a big Days of Our Lives fan like myself.
I am. Oh my God. Yeah. My grandmother and my mother loved that show. So I recall many summers of watching that. And I've turned it on now. I've watched it, every now and then, and I just don't know who these people are anymore.
Yeah.
But there's enough of the old cast still on there, and I love seeing them. I'm like, God, that's job security.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just
Heaven Spirit, get me on Days of Our Lives.
I'm going through so much withdrawal right now because the Winter Olympics are on, so they've been off till the 21st, and it's like,
I know. They start these good storylines, and all of a sudden it's gone. Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Started watching it. My mom, when I was young. It was in the 90s, 95, when the Marlena devil possession storyline.
Oh my God. And they just brought that back again.
And they just brought it back. I'm like, this is awesome. This is how I got started.
Oh my God. When you say you were young and it was the 90s, it makes me want to cry. Okay, anyway.
Born 89. So about you, so you were obviously in Roseblood. It's a Friday the 13th fan film, a continuation of Friday the 13th Part 7. Yep. So I guess before we get into how, I guess we can ask this. So how did you land the part of Dr. Sykes?
I had been chatting with Peter on Facebook for a while. He and I were going to work on a couple of projects, and for some various reason or another, something always happened and we never got to work together. But, right. He had reached out to me when he had the script, and I got to read it, and I thought it was great. I mean, I think he wrote a really solid script, and I applaud him because I was like, wow, this is not your typical Friday the 13th movie. There's a lot of story here. That was also the thing that made me the most nervous because I felt like I was coming in and I wasn't playing an iconic character or a younger version of an iconic character, and I wasn't getting like an epic death scene. So I was like, oh man, I just don't want to be forgettable. That was my big concern. Yeah. But I think he really put a nice arc on the character, and I tried to bring something different to it. I really wanted to make it seem like it was like somebody that you weren't sure if it was good or bad. Right. But in the end, I wanted it to be, kind of sad when he did die, because really, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I know he's bullied. He's bullied.
Yep.
So but no, I think I have to commend Peter. I think
Mhm.
just that huge departure from, and it's funny because you read the reviews, that the reviews have been great, but I mean, when you read some of them, people are like, "Oh, it was so good," but I wish Jason was in there sooner,
Yeah.
and it almost bugs me because I feel like that first hour of the movie, I know that we don't have kills, but I mean, it's still really good character
Yeah,
development.
it really
So,
is.
it's sometimes as an actor, it's like, oh, but why aren't you saying you like the first hour?
Yeah.
But no,
And
it was just it was a really good experience. I mean,
right. And if you think about it, this film is between part 7 and 8. 8 hasn't
mhm.
happened yet. Jason is still under the lake after the end of
Yeah,
part
exactly.
7. And now we're following, like we start obviously, years and years later with Tina, and then
Yep,
like adult, Tina, Lar Park Lincoln, and then you go through the flashback. And
sure.
like the reason why we don't have a Jason is because Jason is still at the bottom of the lake. We have
I know he's a little tied up,
right, exactly. And
chained
we're
up.
trying to
Sorry.
follow, what happened, like Tina and her trauma and what happened to her after these events happened a year later.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you need that dialogue, you need that storytelling, or it's gonna just be a bunch
Yep.
of kills that you don't need.
And I love that Tina character right from the start. Like in the original part 7, I like Dr. Cruz and Tina were such great characters, and it was like, oh, it's a shame we just saw them for like one little segment of that whole canon. So I'm thrilled that like
Yeah.
that's the chunk that Peter chose to explore and give more story to, because God, I mean, Dr. Cruz is just creepy as hell, and
He
you
really
want
is. He really is.
and even just, oh my God, just having him back for this movie to that guy, I mean, I love that man. He is so talented and he's the
Yeah.
nicest guy.
Yeah.
But man, did he creeps me out when he gets in that mode. Ooh.
Yeah, he's very talented. I had him on my show. I don't know if he told you
Oh,
guys on set. He was talking about how there was a alligator and a rattlesnake and a crocodile wranglers on set of part 7 because they were filming in the middle of an infested swamp.
no.
Yes.
Oh
And
man.
Laura Park Lincoln, when I had her on the show, she mentioned how the rattlesnake and crocodile wrangler was in his 80s. So by the time he was going to shoot them, like the crocodile or the rattlesnake was close by to the actor
Yeah,
because
I
he's
wouldn't
in
be
there.
feeling too safe.
Right. And Terry Kaiser asked him if he had a stunt double, and he's like, no, this is Friday the 13th. We didn't have funds for a stunt double like that. Like,
That's
I had to do my own stunt. So when Jason threw me down the hill, that was me rolling down the hill. He said my head landed right close to a crocodile. I was
oh my
this
God.
close to being gobbled by a crocodile.
God, and I heard I think he was saying too that he did like a Circus of the Stars way back when, and like
Yep.
basically almost got his head bitten off by a lion.
Yeah.
This
Poor
dude needs
guy.
to be careful a little bit.
Right. Exactly. And,
But no,
and,
he
and
was so cool.
yeah, and he's very talented. You have to be talented if you can go through a whole movie pretty much being dead.
Yeah,
Because
I nerded out when I saw him on set. I definitely I had my Golden Girls shirt on that day because
nice.
I mean I knew him from Bernie, of course, and from Friday the 13th. But
Right.
knowing that he was on like a few episodes of the Golden
Yeah.
Girls, he's like a god to me. So
Yeah.
I was like, hi.
He's absolutely amazing. So I'm guessing, have you had the chance to meet Laura, Kevin, and Terry on set?
Oh yeah, definitely Terry. Lar is a sweetheart. I didn't get any. Well, I didn't do scenes with Terry or Lar, but
Right.
they were so cool and like hanging out with us, and they totally weren't like off in their separate rooms just wanting to be
Right.
alone. They were so engaged with us and just really great people.
Nice.
And I love hearing anything they had to share. And
Nice.
sadly, I didn't get a chance to work with Kevin. And I didn't even get a chance because I think I was coming off a late night and he was coming in, or there was something, and I was really bummed because I knew him from Days of Our Lives, and I really wanted to meet him.
Right. And he's back on Days.
He's back on Days, and I was
Yep.
looking forward to meeting him at the movie premiere, but then timing with everything, I couldn't get to that show.
Yeah.
So I was like, son of a gun, I'm not going to meet this guy. But I friended him on Facebook. I don't know if he's connecting on who the guy is in the movie, but he's always says hi or a nice chat or a hello. So he seems like a cool guy.
Absolutely.
But,
So
yeah.
about your character, Dr. Sykes, could you tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about who he was?
Like I said, I think he was just probably someone who genuinely was fascinated by the science of what's going on with Tina and her mind and her powers. I think he had every intention of seeing them used in a different potential, but maybe not in the dark, twisted way that the general and the colonel and everyone else wanted them to be used. I think he wanted to see her become her fullest potential, but in a nice kind of way. So I think he definitely cared. I totally get this, like, father daughter kind of thing. He was probably, I'm sure he knew of Dr. Cruz. He was taking over Dr. Cruz's patient. I'm thinking he probably didn't get along with Dr. Cruz. Probably thought Dr. Cruz probably had some weird, bedside manners. But no, I think his heart is in the right place the whole time. And I think it's just a matter of, kind of like that classic high school bully story. It was just not enough of a man to stand up and do what he thought was right. And in
Absolutely.
the end,
I kind of call him, like, I guess you could call him like a Dr. Cruz light, or you know what I mean? Because he's not
very
like,
light,
he's like the Dr. Cruz. He's like Dr. Cruz, but not nearly as mean or evil.
Right.
And I don't see
he gets mad sometimes in the movie, but I feel like when he gets mad, it's almost funny because you just don't picture Dr. Sykes getting mad.
And I can see, like, Dr. Cruz literally held Tina's mom as a human shield and got her killed. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, Dr. Sykes, I don't think would go that route.
I don't think he would.
Right.
But if it was in the script, Peter, I would have done
it. So how was your death scene filmed and prepped?
Well, it's funny. It changed a couple of times. And I think early on, actually, the first draft I read, I think Dr. Sykes lived. And I was the one that said to Peter that I would rather die because I just feel like that's what's remembered in these movies. So he wrote me a pretty cool death scene. It was going to be Rose was actually going to kill me.
Okay.
So it was going to be in that room when we had our final encounter with everybody, when like everyone dies.
Right.
And she was going to twist my head. So they were going to do this really cool like neck prosthetic where there was like some bone coming out. And then we had a horrible, the Amos Effects, who are amazing people. They had a really rough family emergency, and they did have to leave our set on the last day. And we really had to kind of cut some corners on kills. And, I'm not ashamed to say I was mad. And it's looking back now, I shouldn't have been mad because it was out of their control.
Yeah.
So we did what we could, and basically we just kind of had the tent spike that we've seen in this part 7.
Yeah.
And that ends up, Jason pulls it out of his eye and he stabs me in the chest. So, in a perfect world, I would love to like embellish that a little bit, but you know what? It did the job. It killed Dr. Sykes.
Right. And unfortunately, some unfortunate things happen on film sets, and because of scheduling and money and all that, things happen.
Exactly.
And when an issue arises, you kind of gotta, you gotta find a quick fix that'll get the job done to, in a way that can happen and be, realistic.
We actors, we have our diva moments. So, I can't say I've had some shining moments that I'm not proud of, but
right. We all have.
But no.
We all have.
No, I mean, the crew was amazing. I mean, especially that last day, that was like a marathon day. And, I think it was like 16 hours, and everyone was just so, no one complained about being tired. They, the Lutz's family was amazing. They were providing us with so much food, and just, oh my God, their hospitality was unlike anything I'd experienced. And they were wonderful. And no, I mean, Cody, the DP, I'm sure he was exhausted, but he just kept things going, kept people's attitudes up. The sound guys, I can't say enough about that crew. They were amazing.
That's awesome. So we spoke a little bit about Dr. Sykes. We know who he is now, based on your understanding about him. So when you were preparing for this role to portray Dr. Sykes, was there a certain way you wanted to portray him? Was there a certain way you prepared?
I had conversations with Peter. I told him that I wasn't really sure exactly how he was going to come across until like literally like day one of filming. And the first thing I filmed was the interview scene with Tina after they cut to the flashback.
Right.
So and it's funny because there's like an energy you really don't know about, you can't experience until you're actually filming. And right from seeing her start her lines, I was like, okay, this is someone I'm going to care about. So I knew I wanted to make him good, essentially. And I think I could have easily made him bad, but I think I just kind of chose to deliver the lines in a way that made him a little more likable.
Yeah.
And I love playing the bad guy. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I was actually kind of excited to play someone who's not, maniacal and crazy. So, that was basically, and Peter gave me that freedom, which was great, because I don't know if I played him the way he wanted me to play him, but in the end, he seemed happy with it. And he didn't really.
I actually like Dr. Sykes because I kind of related to him. He was he was like me when I was in high school, not a scientist.
He was me. He's still me. I mean,
he was the guy that was a pushover. Basically, he was he was bullied, and he was everybody used him to their advantage, and for their own personal gain, and they didn't give a shit about his feelings.
Right. He just wanted to be liked by the jocks, and
Absolutely. So have you seen any of the Friday the 13th movies?
Oh God, yes. I will say I'm not obsessive like Peter is, but I I have watched them all. And when that sweet box set came out last year, it was so nice to actually watch them all again, because I had seen them probably out of order and bits and pieces. So I just watched them straight through, and even ones I didn't like, I was like, I found new appreciation for him. I was never really a fan of the Jason X, but I was like, God, that really has some great kills.
That's what I was gonna say, because I'm not a big fan of it, but I liked how Peter threw in the Crystal Lake Research Facility from the beginning of that movie.
There were so many great little Easter eggs in there, which I think every fan's gonna love that stuff, or loves that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, all these little things that and I love. It's funny reading some of the comments now, and people who have watched it a few times, they now they're saying, "Oh my God, yeah, I could see all the clues now." Spoiler alert: Michael Myers shows up. So it's so it's now they're going back watching it again, and there were all these little clues planted along the way that totally leads up to Michael showing up.
I promised Peter I would watch the movie again. I haven't gotten a chance to. Like I said, you saw my schedule.
Did I just spoil it for you
this month?
Oh God, did I spoil the movie for you?
No, I saw it the first time. First time. Yeah, he wanted me to watch it a second time because he wrote it to the point that you have to watch it more than once.
I agree.
And I promised him I'd watch it a second time, and I haven't. And I want to, because I want to see I knew some Easter eggs, especially the Friday the 13th Easter eggs. Like, for example, that wall of weapons. I knew that was the brush hook that killed Amanda Shepard, the tree trimming saw that killed Dr. Cruz, all those weapons that were there, that were used. I knew what they were. I saw those Easter eggs. Creighton Duke, I knew that Easter egg, and I'm like, okay, well, Creighton's not going to die because he's in Jason Goes to Hell, and this is before that happened. So I was wondering what happened, and then when Creighton said, "I'm gonna get you for this, Jason," when he killed Julian, I'm like, okay, so this is why Creighton Duke is now hunting Jason Voorhees.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
So those things were brilliant, and the fact that I caught up on all those, but I didn't catch the Michael Myers thing, and I was so confused on that. I was so confused, and when I had Peter on my show, I talked to him about it, and he explained it, and then he's like, "Go back and watch it, you'll see it." I'm like, "Oh," so in that room, the butcher knife goes through. It all is Rose's. I wouldn't say figment of her imagination. That's who she is. She's the embodiment of evil. So I thought that was really clever.
Please, I was on the set and I wasn't picking up the clues. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh wait, she's drawn. Someone says there's no face." I'm like, "This is Michael Myers."
That was one thing I mentioned when they said about no face or whatever, and I seen her eye turning red. I'm like, that gives me Michael Myers vibes. I knew it, but when they show Michael Myers, I'm like, I don't get it though. Like, why? But then when Peter explained it to me and said, "Now go back and watch these," and then about the butcher knife going through, that was all Michael Myers. I'm like, oh, I got it.
And he pulled it off, because you know what? That's a risky move to cross icons like that. And it could have been really cheesy, and people could have been like, "Oh God," you could have lost people right there. But I feel like that first hour of slow burn just kind of made it all make sense in the end.
Right. The only reason why I related to it before talking to Peter was because of Rose being called, she's an evil child, and that and when I saw him there, I'm like, I don't get it, but I know it's something with Michael Myers and Rose. I know there's that connection. And then Peter described it to me, and I got a newfound appreciation for it. I'm like, got it. Got it.
Yeah. No, it was quite a vision.
Absolutely. So when you first saw the script of Roseblood, what were your initial thoughts about this movie?
Like I was surprised. I said, this is a departure from a typical Friday the 13th
Yeah.
movie. I mean, there was very limited. I mean, I was just looking for kills right from the start and boobs basically. And you know,
Yep.
he really focused on characters,
Yeah.
which again, like I said, maybe not every fan wants that, but why not throw
Right.
something different every now and then in front of them? So
Right. Yep.
I thought it was really well put together. I know he worked on it quite a bit.
Yep.
I think he gave every character their
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
You know, I know he had like the fast team. I think a lot of those were perks that were available, but I mean, they had some great. I mean, their deaths were epic. So I'm happy that they got their moments to shine too. So yeah,
I agree, and I know that like with studio film, that's a good thing about indie films, because with studio films, they want X amount of deaths or X amount of violence from Jason every X amount of minutes. Whereas as with an indie film, you're in control. You don't have to answer to the studios. If you're making the movie, either you're directing or writing or whatever, you can make it how you want to make it. And Peter made his vision, and I think he did a really great job. I enjoyed it.
Yep. I agree.
It's funny because I was in DC and it was a blizzard, and we were getting ready to go take our Uber to the train station, and I watched probably the first half of it, and then I was gonna watch the second half when I got home, but the train was delayed for like 3 hours and still never showed up. So I ended up paying like $200 just to get an Uber from Washington DC back to Baltimore, Maryland, in a blizzard.
Oh God!
And so I'm like, so I didn't get a chance to watch the second half of it until like maybe 8 o'clock at night or so, or whatever time it was. But it was definitely later, a lot later, because our train was supposed to depart at like 11, 12 o'clock, and we didn't get the Uber till like 4-ish, maybe 3-ish.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
It was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth the wait. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great film. It was definitely done amazingly. So the last question I got for you is, do you have any other projects or any other works of art that you want to promote to the listening and viewing audience?
You know, it's nice because after last year and everything was pretty much shut down, it's nice to have some momentum again.
Yeah.
I have a couple of films. I have a feature that's very close to signing for distribution. I think it's doing some festival runs now, called The Wild Man. We actually filmed that here in Florida, and it's a Bigfoot found footage film. So it's, you know, the festivals have been very kind to it. So hopefully we'll get that distributed. I did a short with Jonathan Patrick Hughes called Bad Hair Day, which finally we just got that completed. A lot of COVID delays with that. So it's it's an Easter horror.
Oh, nice. You don't get many of them, so that's nice.
It's I got to, I mean, spoiler alert again, I get to turn into a were-rabbit, which was pretty damn cool.
I like that.
So that was, hopefully that'll get some more, it's just starting its festival run, so hopefully you'll see that at some point. And yeah, now I'm actually shooting a movie, thus my lovely mustache again, called The Demon of Sirling, which is another little horror. It's kind of like a Dexter. It's kind of like the serial killer, but he's got his heart's in the right place. So actually this coming weekend is my last weekend of filming that, and then I could get rid of this.
Nice.
But no, it's just nice to be working again and seeing some things coming out, and
yeah, absolutely. COVID really did a number on a lot of things in the acting industry and theater in general. You were mentioning earlier about, you know, it's nice when you're filming and you get to do cuts. It's really cool, and I love watching theater, but I make a lot of mistakes. You can have a whole blooper reel on me, so I don't think I can do theater.
There's nothing quite like the adrenaline of theater, but give me a blooper reel anytime.
And I was in December. I was in New York City and saw Aladdin on Broadway, and it was an amazing production. And it's just so cool seeing all that. And
I would love to see that.
Yeah, and it's a shit. And we were gonna see Michael Jackson, but they shut down because of COVID, which is sad because like COVID is still running amok out there. And it's nice that it's still giving people acting jobs now. Like we're able to open a lot more up than we were in the beginning.
Yeah. So, that's definitely something I miss about being up north, because I grew up in Connecticut, so it was just a train ride to go see a show, and oh my God, I miss Broadway shows so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thank you so much, David, for joining me.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Not a problem. Yeah, absolutely. You have a great rest of your day.
You too, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.